Hey, what's going on, DDO people? Axel here. Today I'm going to be going over and reviewing all of the loot from Update 27. I'll be going through each piece one by one and giving my thoughts and impressions. Also, I put a link in the description below to a listing of all this loot, so if you'd like, you can go to the description, open up that page, and follow along with me as you listen to what I have to say. Let's start with the loot from the first quest in the chain, the Archons Trial. And the first piece of loot is called the Epic Arm of the Archons. It's a rune arm. It has 4-shot, maximum charge tier 5, rune arm imbue for 6. Also has impulse plus 150, sheltering plus 30, fear immunity, MRR plus 2 quality bonus, and a green augment slot. Now, I don't know much about Artificer. It's one of those classes I've never played, but this rune arm seems very nice for Blade Barrier. However, Blade Barrier already struggles in Epic Elite, especially when you start running into mobs with all kinds of inflated hit points. It's one of those spells that doesn't really scale. So this rune arm appears to be better for normal and hard than Epic Elite. Another concern I have is this rune arm really an upgrade over the Mark of Death rune arm, the Knives Eternal? That Menace of the that Mark of Death rune arm appears to be superior because it has impulse plus 150, just like this new rune arm, but it also has kinetic lure. Now, granted, this new rune arm has sheltering, but you can get that at other slots. You could also get kinetic lure at other slots, but I think if you're looking for a rune arm to give you your boost to Blade Barrier all in one slot, the Mark of Death rune arm appears to be better. But all in all, it's not really an upgrade, I don't think, over the prior rune arms, but it's a nice alternative. Let's move on to Epic Light Unending, which is a quarterstaff, which has plus 12 enhancement bonus, Solar 6, Vertigo plus 15, Metaline, Improved Banishing, Purple Augment Slot, and Holy 6. Now, this quarterstaff is going to be a very good DR breaker, but as far as DPS, Tier 3 Thunderforge, I'm sure, is going to outclass this simply because Tier 3 Thunderforge has Mortal Fear and this weapon does not. And Mortal Fear is just that powerful when you're talking Epic Elite creatures with hundreds of thousands of HP. Being able to cut that in half is just so good, even though Mortal Fear only has a 5% proc chance. Now, I have no idea if this weapon and the other weapons in this pack outclass Tier 2 Thunderforge. I haven't gotten into these weapons yet. I'd have to do some testing and have some experience with them, but they appear to be a good alternative to Tier 2 Thunderforge either way. And they're definitely a good alternative to Tier 3 Thunderforge, since most people aren't going to go through that grind for the 30 flogs. I personally gave up on it, and I think most players ended up giving up on it just because it just takes so many runs of that raid. The next item is the Epic Scraps of Enlightenment. They're hand wraps. They have plus 12 enhancement bonus, Holy 6, Solar 6, Impact 5, Greater Reinforced Fists, and a purple augment slot. And these wraps are the same deal as the quarterstaff I just talked about. I assume you can craft Thunderforge hand wraps. Haven't played much as far as unarmed characters, but if you can craft Thunderforge hand wraps, which if I'm remembering right you can, they're going to be superior because of Mortal Fear. So same thing here. Good alternative here, but if you have Tier 3 Thunderforge, you're probably not interested. Now the next item is the Hal Siona, which is a helmet that has, it's a cleric helmet. It has Quality Wisdom plus 2, Devotion plus 150, Magical Efficiency 10%, Healing Lore X, Insightful Heal plus 2, and a green augment slot. Alright, so this is one item I personally am interested in because, as you guys know, I run a cleric as my main. Now, I've normally in the past, I've passed on these healing items and not used them because I couldn't justify the slot. But with this helmet, we're talking plus 150 devotion, plus 20% healing lore. That's plenty, plus 20% crits. And for a build like mine that really utilizes aura, that's a huge boost to the party. Healing crits aren't that great except if you're utilizing aura. or if you're a barb or something, anything that has a slow regen, healing crits are good. If you just rely on burst healing, like just the heal spell or reconstruct, not so much. But for for builds that heal themselves slowly over time, healing crits are nice. And I'm finding that I think this might be the one time I pass up on a little bit of DPS for a healing item because it's hard to resist. With the 150 devotion, which is superior to what I can get on a red augment slot, that's going to give me an extra plus 24 positive spell power. Plus, it's going to give me extra SP from the stacking whiz, which I don't really care that much about, but it's a nice little perk. And it's going to give me 10% reduction in SP cost, which, again, not a big deal to me, but it's a nice little perk. If nothing else, it's going to be an item I tend to use for Epic Elite. Definitely not for the easier difficulties when I run them, because the party just won't need the extra healing. Okay, the next item is Token of the Proven. It's a trinket that has Invisibility Guard, Fortification 150%, Lesser Displacement, Insightful Fortitude Save +2, a green augment slot, and Featherfall. This item I think is pretty much trash, and hear me out on this. The reason I think it's trash, even though it looks kind of nice, yeah, the invisibility guard is pretty cool, especially for rogues, but pretty much everyone is wearing Shadow Scale armor at this point, and that gives 130% for it already, and I don't think that 20% is going to make a huge difference, considering your biggest threats in epics are going to be champions that have buffs that bypass all your fort anyways. Also, the Lesser Displacement, if you don't know what that is, it's a concealment bonus for 25%, but it doesn't stack, obviously, from the name you can tell it doesn't stack with regular displacement. And everyone has displacement clickies already. Any serious veteran player is already going to have displacement clickies. So lesser displacement's kind of, not really a big deal. Besides, lesser displacement's only a minor 5% improvement over permablur, which everyone has anyways. So it's just not that good. And there's Featherfall on the item, but everyone has a Featherfall item, so that doesn't matter either. And the +2 fort save is sort of nice, I guess, but fort is your least important save, and obviously it's not going to be worth spending a whole item slot on this. So I'm not a big fan of this item. I don't think it's going to help a whole lot of players. Let's move on to the loot from Demon Assault, which is the second quest in the chain. If you're following along on the wiki, you'll have to skip down. They, for whatever reason, listed the Devil's Details before they did Demon Assault. The first item is, actually the first two items are two different shields. The first one is a small shield called the Epic Shield of the Demonic Soldier. It has +12 enhancement bonus, Dazing 7, Impact 5, Magical Resistance +2 quality bonus, a +6 bonus to melee power, and a purple augment slot. And there's a buckler version of this, which is the exact same thing. It's just a buckler instead of a small shield. And that's called the Epic Buckler of the Demonic Soldier. These look like decent shields. The melee power is really nice. That's basically +6% DPS. And I don't know of any other items that have given us flat bonuses in melee power like this. There might be a few, but I don't remember them personally. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be after these items for the +6 melee power. That's really nice. I'm not sure if this is best in slot for these shields, but if nothing else, it could be a swappable item when running easier difficulties because of that +6% DPS. It's going to be better to get that DPS when you're running low difficulty levels than whatever defensive bonuses your shields might be giving you. Okay, the next item is called the Band Immaterial. It's a ring that has Illusion Focus 5, Enchantment Focus 5, Insightful Enchantment Focus 2, Insightful Illusion Focus 2, and a green augment slot. All in all, great ring. It gives a +7 to Illusion and Enchantment DCs, and it's on a ring slot. That's going to be really nice for wizards, definitely enchantment wizards. I'm sure a lot will want this. It's a solid item. Now, it's a little niche because not a whole lot of people are concerned with their enchantment and illusion spells. Somewhat enchantment, I know, on arcanes, but you don't see a whole lot of enchantment-focused wizards these days or sorcerers. Let's move on to the loot from the third chain quest, the Devil's Details. First item is the Armbands of the Silenced One. These are a pair of bracers They have Dex plus 11, Dodge plus 11%, Insightful Dexterity, Reflex Save plus 2, and a green augment slot. I'm not 100% in tune with what rogue gear is out there, but this seems like it might be best in slot for any Dex-based evasion characters. It gets your Dodge bonus and a plus 14 bonus overall to Dex, all in one slot. Because you got that plus 11 regular Dex and plus 3 Insightful Dex. Next item is the Epic Divine Artillery, which is a great crossbow. It has a plus 12 enhancement bonus. Deception 9, Eldritch 6, Sovereign Vorpal, Stealth Strike, and an orange augment slot. For whatever reason, the devs have taken a liking to great crossbows in the past couple updates after ignoring them for years and years. And this weapon is similar to the other weapons in this pack. It seems like a good alternative to Tier 2 Thunderforge, but it's not going to out DPS a Mortal Fear great crossbow in Epic Elite. And next we have another weapon, a great axe called the Epic Rift Maker. Has a plus 12 enhancement bonus, Superior Force Burst, Improved Banishing, Bloodletter 6, Melee Power plus 6, and an orange augment slot. Now, I use a Tier 2 Thunderforge great axe. I probably should be using a plus 2 or Tier 2 Thunderforge small, but I haven't gotten around to, considering I run in Legendary Dreadnought, but I haven't gotten around to respecking. But I really want this axe to try out in place of my Tier 2 Thunderforge great axe. That plus 6% melee power is really plus 6% DPS in the form of plus 6 melee power is really appealing. And I want to get this and compare it to my Tier 2 Thunderforge and see what the DPS is like. Now, obviously, like I said about the other weapons, this isn't going to beat out Mortal Fear Tier 3 Thunderforge, but for people like me, it could be a nice alternative to Tier 2. Next, we have Dawnbringer, which is a Shuriken with plus 5 enhancement bonus, Sovereign Vorpal, Deadly 9, Bloodletter 7, Range Power plus 6, and an orange augment slot. And what I had to say about this is similar to what I've said about the other weapons. I've said it several times now. Good alternative to Tier 2 Thunderforge, but it's not going to out DPS a Tier 3 Thunderforge with Mortal Fear, in Epic Elite at least. Next, we have a large shield called the Epic Shield of Tireless Aid. It has Spell Casting Implement plus 36, plus 12 enhancement bonus, Devotion plus 150, Healing Amplification plus 20, Equipment bonus, Healer's Bounty, Improved Demonic Shield, and a green augment slot. This could be a really nice shield for a tank. The Improved Demonic Shield procs temporary hit points, the Healer's Bounty procs the heal spell, and you also have Healing Amplification on there and Devotion, which is going to help your healing spells. So be nice for a tank, like possibly a Sacred Defender Paladin. It's okay for a Cleric, although the Cleric helmet I talked about earlier has the same Devotion plus other healing goodies, like plus 20% healing crit. So I don't think you would be wanting to use this if you're using that helmet, but it's a possibility for a caster Cleric, maybe a caster Favored Soul. Next we have a cloak called Hide of the Fallen, which is a Druid cloak. It has Druid Survival Mastery on it, Shield plus 6, Armor Piercing minus 20%, Strength plus 11, and a blue augment slot. And it's a very niche cloak, obviously. It's good for Druids, but that's about it. For other builds, you can get the plus 11 Strength somewhere else, and Tier 2 Thunderforged or Tier 3 Thunderforged already has the a plus 35 Armor Piercing on it, so that 20 isn't really going to do a lot for you if you're using a Thunderforged weapon, like a lot of people are. That's it for the quest items. Let's move on now to the raid items. The first raid item is called the Fel Blade, which is a very good long sword. It has plus 13 enhancement bonus, improved banishing, sovereign vorpal, axiomatic 10, armor piercing 20%, 15% bonus to double strike, which is huge, a red augment slot, and an orange augment slot. This is probably the best weapon in the pack. The 15% double strike is awesome, but again, I think it's going to lose out. Pending weapon calculations that I'm sure many players are going to have upcoming, I think it's going to lose to a Tier 3 Thunderforged weapon with Mortal Fear when it comes to Epic Elite content, because when you're talking about enemies with so many hit points in Epic Elite, Procking a proc that takes away half their hit points on trash is so huge. Also, this longsword has 15% armor piercing on it, but if you're using a Thunderforge, even a tier 2 Thunderforge, you're going to have 35% armor piercing. So let me correct myself. I said this weapon has 15% armor piercing, but it has 20% armor piercing. But you're going to get an extra 15%, like I said, on a tier 2 Thunderforge or tier 3 Thunderforge. So that's something that leans towards the Thunderforge favor. So overall, awesome longsword. If you're not really into the Thunderforge stuff, it's a good alternative. If nothing else, it's going to be very competitive DPS wise. Not as good as Mortal Fear, but competitive. Next is a belt called the Belt of Braided Beards. It has a teleport clicky on it with 3 uses: intelligence plus 12, spell resistance 35, lesser displacement, acid and cold resist plus 40, a blue augment slot, and a green augment slot. You might see the teleport clicky here and think that's an amazing item, but once you think about it, it's not that great because of the fact that it's minimum level 28, which is unfortunate. If the developers were going to put a teleport clicky in the game, I wish they would have put a lower minimum level on it, because the fact that it's minimum level 28, it's going to make this teleport clicky useless for most players, because a lot of people are into ETRing or TRing or don't spend a lot of time at cap, so they're not going to be able to benefit from this teleport clicky from levels 1 to 27. I believe this is the only plus 12 intelligence item in the game. I think it's the first one introduced, so DC casters may find this useful or necessary to equip for the extra half DC. But the other effects are pretty meh. The elemental resistances are kind of nice. If you're using the elemental boost from the Unyielding Sentinel Epic Destiny, you get plus 40 here over the plus 35 that you get from that Epic Destiny. So it's kind of a nice little upgrade, but but plus 5 isn't that vital when we're talking elemental resistance. The spell resistance is going to be useless and for almost all builds, and the lesser displacement, I've talked about that earlier. It doesn't stack with displacement. It only provides a minor plus 5% bonus over blur. So all in all, I'm not that thrilled about this item. I don't think it's going to have a lot of use. Next, we have the Countenance, which is a cloak that has plus 12 Charisma, Evocation Focus 5, Radiance Lore 10, Spell Penetration 6, a yellow augment slot, and a green augment slot. Now this is going to be amazing for Divine's casters, getting Charisma plus 12, Evocation Focus 5, and Radiance Lure and Spell Penetration. All in one item is amazing. All of your Divine casters are going to want this. Great, great, great item. Next is a very niche pair of bracers that have Corrosion plus 156, Acid Lure 10, Acid Absorption 30%, Conjuration Focus 5, a blue augment slot, and a green augment slot. And obviously this is going to be great for your Acid Savant Sorcerers. Now, I don't know how the Warlock stuff works. I haven't looked a whole lot into Warlock. Now, if this Corrosion stacks on top of all of the bonuses that, say, like a Great Old One packed Warlock gets, because I know Great Old One boosts your acid damage. This might be great for them too, but I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe someone who plays a Warlock can talk about this or leave a comment in the description below and clarify this. But for other people that aren't perhaps a Warlock or an Acid Savant, I don't see this being that useful. You don't see a lot of Conjuration focused wizards, for example, so probably not a lot of use other than those classes I mentioned. Next are the Gauntlets of the Arcane Soldier, which is a pair of gloves. It has Quality Spell Focus 1, which is a stacking bonus to all of your spellcasting DCs. Arcane Augmentation 9, which boosts the maximum level of certain spells. Spellcraft plus 20, Wizardry 11, green augment slot, and a yellow augment slot. And this item looks like a must for DC casters. It gives a Quality Spell Focus, which is a plus 1 stacking bonus to all spell DCs. When you're talking your DC casters in game, it's all about getting your spell DCs as high as possible. So this looks like it's something you're going to want to have for your DCs if you are that type of caster. Next is a pair of boots called the Mini Hooked Greaves. They have Insightful Combat Mastery 5, Strength plus 12, Vertigo plus 12, green, and a yellow augment slot. They also have, I think, Insightful Vertigo plus 2. I'll have to check that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, this is a very niche item. It's built for tactics characters who utilize improved trip. Very, very niche. So those builds, which I don't see a whole lot of them, perhaps some fighters or something are going to want to use this, but for most other builds, I don't think you can justify the slot. Yes, this appears to be the only plus 12 strength item in the game, but if you're just using strength for damage, I don't think you can justify this slot just for plus 12, a plus 1 bonus to your strength. Getting a plus 12 item strength item over a plus 11 strength item is not going to be a big deal at all if you're talking about just your run-of-the-mill normal melee character who doesn't use tactics and is not built for tactics. Let's move on to the Memoriam, which is a trinket, which has Good Luck plus 4, Healing Amplification plus 75 Competence bonus, Insightful Fortitude save 3, Quality Reflex save 2, and a green augment slot and a yellow augment slot. This is a very nice boost to saves and healing amp. I might be wearing this myself. This is a really good improvement. That plus 4 good luck, I don't think we've seen that before, so that's a luck bonus to all your saves. That healing amplification plus 75 is going to be an upgrade over what normally is a plus 60, which that used to be known as your 20% healing amp item. And then we've got these bonuses to fort saves and quality stacking plus your reflex save. So it's really, really a nice item. It's really going to be competitive with the Epic Litany, definitely. Now the Epic Litany is going to be in addition to damage, but this is going to give you a bigger bonus to your saves and your healing amp. So it's a trade-off. Do you want to wear the Epic Litany and get a little more damage, or you want to wear this and get more healing amplification and more saves? It's a very competitive item. You'll have to make that decision if you're one of those players who is fortunate enough to have acquired a Epic Litany and this item. Next is the Resonation, which is a necklace that has magical resistance plus 4 quality bonus, a quality will save plus 2, inherent elemental resistance 15. That means it's going to stack with your regular elemental resistance item. And it has sounding, which what that does is on a harmful spell cast, you do an additional 4 to 24 sonic damage. It also has a green and blue augment slot. I'll be honest with you, I don't like this item. It looks like garbage to me. Plus 4 isn't much of a MRR bonus. The will save, the elemental resistance bonuses are nice, but they're hardly worth spending a whole slot on. I couldn't myself spend a whole slot on just plus 4 MRR and a little bit extra will save and elemental resistance. I don't think it's worth it. Okay, next we have the Sightless, which is a helmet. It has True Seeing, Death Block 7, range power plus 6, melee power plus 6, sheltering plus 35, constitution plus 12, a green augment slot and a blue augment slot. And this looks like best in slot for ranged and melee builds, especially if you're talking about a classic ranger build that's going to be utilizing both melee and ranged. The plus 6 melee and range power is huge. That's basically plus 6% to your DPS. Not to mention the extra defenses this item provides from the con plus 12, which appears to be the first plus 12 con item that's been introduced into the game, and sheltering 35, which is not a huge upgrade over other sheltering items that are available, but it's a nice little bonus there. But that plus 6 melee power or plus 6 range power is huge. I think most melee builds are going to be wearing this because of that. Plus 6 melee power, plus 6 range power is basically plus 6% DPS, like I've said several times. It's a big deal. Let's move on to Strange Tidings, which is a ring. It has plus 12 dexterity, deception 8, UMD plus 7, diversion 20%, a blue augment slot and a green augment slot. This item is amazing for rogues. You're going to want it if you're a rogue. And not so much for anyone else other than that +7 UMD, which obviously is great for a swap item if there's a certain UMD spell that you've or scroll that you've always wanted to use, but your UMD's been a little bit out of reach. You can now get this item and use that. But when we're talking rogues, the deception, the dexterity, and the diversion is just amazing. You're going to want this definitely on a rogue. Next is the Ultimatum, which is a tower shield. It has +12 enhancement bonus, Insightful Sheltering +5, Improved Banishing 10, Holy 7, Metalline, Purple Augment slot, Petrification Immunity, and a blue augment slot. Now this is a great alternative to the Purple Dragon Shield from the Haunted Halls, which is kind of the be-all end-all tower shield right now in the game. It's been really since Haunted Halls came out. I'm not sure if this is an upgrade over the Purple Dragon Shield though. This Ultimatum shield, it bypasses DR and it gives you a extra +5 PRR and MRR, unlike the Purple Dragon Shield, but it doesn't have that convenient +10 Cha and +10 Con that the Purple Dragon Shield has, and it doesn't have the Vorpal effect that the Purple Dragon Shield has. I think they're really close, and this is definitely a very viable alternative to the Purple Dragon Shield, but I think I would still give the slight edge to the Purple Dragon Shield if you're talking about min-maxing. Now the other thing this tower shield does give you is Petrification Immunity. Now if you're running Mark of Death, this should prevent, if it's working correctly, immunity to that petrification spell, as I understand it. So this could be a good swap item for anyone to perhaps wear if you're a caster, maybe a divine caster or something, or maybe you're an arcane caster that is able to bypass all of the arcane spell failure that a tower shield would give. You could possibly use it for that raid to keep yourself from getting turned to stone. Next we have the Visions of Precision, which is a pair of goggles. It has Wisdom +12, Enhanced Key +3, Dazing 10, Insightful Wisdom +4, Blue Augment slot, and a Green Augment slot. And this is going to be amazing for divine casters and amazing for monks who use Stunning Blow. +16 on one item is incredible, especially when you're talking about your DC casters and of course your monks who use the Stunning Blow, because Stunning Blow DC is based on your Wisdom. So very, very good item for those builds. You'll definitely want this. Next we have, and our last item is the boots of Blessed Travels, which obviously are a pair of boots. They have dodge +12%, quality armory mastery +2, speed 15, freedom of movement permanent, insightful reflex save +3, a green augment slot, and a yellow augment slot. Now this item looks like garbage to me. You can get this dodge, the speed, and the freedom of movement somewhere else. I don't see many builds wanting this over the Epic Boots of the Innocent, which are still, in my opinion, the most amazing pair of boots in the game for a capped character. So, not a big fan of this loot, this specific piece of loot. So guys, that's all of the items of Update 27. I have to say, overall, I'm really happy with the loot design in this update, especially considering the last two updates, the Heart of Madness and the Temple of Elemental Evil loot was so disappointing. But here, the devs did a great job. There are a ton of upgrades here and a ton of best in slot items, but they provided these upgrades without making all of the previous loot obsolete and without a huge amount of power creep. That's what I didn't like about the Epic Orchard items. They obsoleted so many other items and they were just so much power creep there. But I don't think there's a huge ton of power creep here. There's good upgrades, but not a lot of invalidating the loot from recent updates, and it's not so much power creep that we can't handle this to where it's bad for the game and validating everything. That's come in the past few updates. Guys, let me know what you think about this loot in a comment below. Did you like the loot? And also tell me, what piece of item are you most looking forward to in this update? What item are you really wanting to farm out? For me, it's that healing helmet. I think it's going to be a really, really cool swap item for my build at the very least. So guys, as always, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. And enjoy running the new content.